Hello, everyone. I'm Kevin McKinnon, the editor of Triathlon Magazine Canada, and I'm here with Andrew MacNaughton. No one knows who you are. Who the heck are you, Andrew?
I'm no one of consequence, I promise.
All right, so because he's not going to tell you, Andrew MacNaughton, a former pro triathlete, Canadian, but did all of your racing and lived in California. And also, in full disclosure, the guy who got me into the sport way back in 1985. We're really old.
We met in 77 in high school, and we were friends a year later. It took him about a year to warm up to me. Yeah.
So, Andrew, some of the things people don't know about you, you were the first person to win a triathlon on aero bars. You beat Mike Pigg at the Crawfish Man.
I did, and Glenn Cook and several others, and I was also the first person to win 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 triathlons on those bars.
Okay. Yeah, so Boone Lennon managed to talk you into all that. The other thing that people don't know about you is that you won Wildflower three times?
3 times, yeah. So go back to the earlier question. So Boone Lennon and I met in '82. One of my good friends was a U.S. team skier, and he was a team ski coach. And so I was up at Sun Valley skiing one year. So when I saw these bars come out, I called him up, and he remembered me, and he shipped me off a pair. And that's one of the reasons I got them early, was because he knew me. And then once I won that race, everybody wanted them, and they were really hard to get. You may remember it took you a little while to get them, because I called you up and said, you got to get these.
You
Yeah.
called me up and you called me up like with 4 months notice. You need to get these. I completely ignored you, and then I was like everyone else. As soon as you won on them, I said I need them. So yes, I'm an idiot. We all know that. So Andrew, part of the reason, Dan Emfield at one point described you as possibly the top-ranked triathlete in the world for a given time, but a lot of Canadians
20
didn't.
minutes.
A little longer than that, but a lot of Canadians didn't really know the name because you didn't race in Canada a whole lot.
No, I didn't. I raced, this was in the middle 80s, late 80s, and I considered myself a professional, so I raced where there was money, and there just wasn't that much in Canada. So I raced in Europe and South America and the US primarily. Yeah.
Um, when you look back at those days and sort of the where the sport is now, um, do you kind of wish that you had been involved later, like in this time frame, or how do you look back at it?
Oh gosh, no. For my personality, the way the sport was in the beginning was so much better. It was there were far fewer rules. It was much more for the entrepreneur sort of mentality, where this was sort of a crazy new thing and let's go give it a shot. It's much more refined and polished and about money now. Before it was more about woohoo, let's go do this and let's see what we can do with our bodies. It's very different now.
Yeah.
And for my personality, I was doing it at the right time. Part of the reason one of the reasons that I retired at 30 was because the sport was changing and it was becoming more corporate and more controlling and less about the athletes and way less fun. Of course, the athletes now don't know the difference, so good on you. Have fun the way it is, right? Because that's pretty much your only choice. But what I noticed a few years ago when I got back in shape is that Xterra is a lot like triathlon was 30 years ago. There's no security, and there's nothing ever stolen or lost. You walk. People are walking in and out of the transition areas all the time, and there's all these, and everyone's having fun, and yeah, it's very different. And it's way less structured, and it's way better for my personality. Yeah, yeah.
Now, the other thing that people won't really know, because you guys never talk about this, but you spent a lot of time with Simon Whitfield, during his sort of heyday of Olympic plethora of Olympic medals and all that fun stuff, and also Jasper Blake. And it wasn't just so that they could come down to this beautiful area here. Like, you did some coaching and mentoring and all that kind of fun stuff.
Yeah, I have a wonderful relationship developed with both of those wonderful humans, and it started in '96. I was working for both the ITU and Trican. I was doing their websites and their digital media, I guess is what it's called now. And so I was at the Worlds in Cleveland, and Simon was there, first time he was there, and we hit it off. We got along. We had very funny conversations, and he wanted me to coach him. So we worked together for the better part of 3 years, leading up to the Sydney Olympics. And then he went with another coach that was the national team coach that was prepared to travel with him more than I was, and it was a great choice. That coach did a great job, and he did very well. As we all know, he won in Sydney, and our friendship has, lasted to this day. When he comes down in this area, he definitely visits me, stays with me sometime, and same with Jasper is the same. I knew him because he came down as a training partner with Simon in the winter and spring of '97, and Jasper and I stayed friends on and off throughout that. And then in 2005, we talked a lot about his coaching and his training, and I wasn't really aligned with what he was doing, so I was sort of biting my tongue because it wasn't really my business. And then in the spring of 2006, finally we talked more about maybe me having more input, and we sort of changed what he was doing, and miraculously 9 weeks later he won Ironman Canada, which was a wonderful result, I thought, and it was something that I thought that he was capable of for years, but I didn't necessarily think that he was doing exactly what was best for his abilities. Everyone needs to be coached a little different. Their training needs to be a little different depending on their strengths and weaknesses, and I didn't think Jasper was doing what was right. And it turned out, for the short term anyway, that my input made somewhat of a dramatic impact. And then we worked together on and off, and it became more of a mentor role after that as opposed to a coaching role. And now we are both mentors to each other, and we swap ideas and coaching experiences because we both coach right now.
Yeah. Well, and Jasper comes down to this area, which could be the Santa Monica Mountains. It might not be.
It might not be. We like to keep my whereabouts a secret.
All right. Well, anyway, it's awesome. Thank you so much for all that you've done for me being involved in the sport, and obviously Simon and Jasper and all that kind of fun stuff. And hopefully we'll see you back in a try again soon. You did Wildflower and went 4:25. Was that 5 years ago? 6 years ago?
6 years ago, yeah. I got
50.
I got back into shape, and I did way better than I could have reasonably expected. And it was really a lot of fun. It was a wonderful experience. The trouble with the next thing is now that I'm in shape, what can I do that can maintain my interest? And I did Xterras for a couple of years, and those were really fun. And now I'm in the same place. I need to find something that will spark my interest again and make me get fit. But in the meantime, when Kevin comes down, he drags me around, and I do nothing but draft. So it works out perfect.
Yeah, not quite, but we'll go with that one anyway. It makes me sound good. Hopefully we will find that next challenge up in Canada and get you racing back there. Thank you so much for taking the time today.
Thank you, Kev, and thanks for coming to visit me, and thanks for giving me all sorts of credit that I don't really deserve.
This is Andrew MacNaughton. I'm Kevin McKinnon. Thanks for joining us here at Triathlon Magazine Canada.